We're good? Okay. Hi, and thank you so much for joining us. Today we're doing our chit chat on From Isolation to Involvement, Creating Community through Connection. And this will be a series, so we will be doing some spotlights later on. I just want to thank you all for joining us this episode. We appreciate your time and how busy you guys are, and we appreciate that you're willing to spend that time with us. It really means a lot to us. Thank you so much. Tonight we're exploring the critical role of community and socialization, especially for those considering or involved in homeschooling. A lot of the things, especially with because I was a homeschooler, a lot of the things I heard is, oh my goodness, how did your kids ever get socialization? Well, we'll discuss ways to foster that community engagement. That's literally how we get that socialization. It benefits both your children and it benefits parents. So, each one of us on the panel tonight has managed to foster that sense of community in their own ways. So we want to really explore that. So I'll just get Chrissy. Chrissy is my cohort. She is my other half. She is the co-owner and person of Equinox Learning Hub, which is a nonprofit. And of course, we want to educate your kids. So Chrissy, I'll give it to you.
All right. And again, I just want to say thank you so very much for joining us this evening and taking time out of your busy schedule. I would like to introduce Elsa, I'm going to say it wrong again, Elsa Pendragon. Also, I would like to, I would also like to welcome Reverend Mary Hawk, Hayley Osborne, Janet Callahan, and Barb Stenger to the group. So again, thank you so very much for coming. Sorry for butchering your names, but we'd just like to welcome you guys over. If you guys could, if Elsa could start, could you guys give us a brief interview of your organization? What got you into community involvement?
So I've been in community for years, and so officially, I think I started in I want to say 2006. Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. And I started with Pagan Pride Day. So, but Mary's going to get into that a little bit more. So the thing is that as I went through, I did coffee houses and all this other just community. I just was always part of community, Surf and Stone, mini paths, always doing festivals, right? So we did camping and all of that. So I've kind of landed in this position of president of Cauldronfest a year, maybe 2 years ago, officially a year ago, but kind of working my way to that. And so Cauldronfest is a 3-day event, and we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have cabins, so we're not camping in tents. Been there, done that. And we have kids' activities. We have classes. We have entertainment. We have Raw, which is a fire dancing, fighting, spectacular group. And then we have fire dancers right after that. We have a rave on Friday night. And like I said, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We've got rituals. And the thing is that when, honestly, I'm gonna roll this back to y'all. When you reached out to me, how excited I was to have children learning centric homeschooling for the pagan community wanting to do a vending event at our event. And I was like, yeah, I pay you to come out. Come on. So, I was really excited about that because it's about family and it's about diversity and it's about community. And actually, the two gentlemen that started this the co-founders of it was Justin and his partner, Thomas. They've done a really good job. Just life happens. And sometimes you just have to give up the position, not because you want to or have to or are forced to, but because you know that life is taking you a different direction. So you kind of, and then thank goodness, one of us was there to kind of pick up and keep going with the same mission that they started with, which was what my goal is. And so we meshed really, really well. I said, you know what, until somebody better comes along, I'll be the president until something happens, or, the whole statement of I'll be here until something better comes along. And I will give up my mantle just as easily. to do that so that Cauldronfest always grows. So we've been around for a little while.
That's
I
awesome.
would take up a lot of time.
No, that's amazing. So when the Cauldronfest was created, did you envision it as being like this giant community thing that everybody was able to coalesce in?
So Justin did. We actually kind of on the same aspect of Puff. We would love to purchase land so that we're not dependent upon state parks to do our housing and everything. So yes, we wanted to grow so that we can buy our own property and be able to house our own events plus other people's events, because it's only a one oh my god, it's only 1 year, one time a year thing, because I have many hats, and so so yes, land is a part of it, and growing is definitely a part of it. We would, we promote like Pagan Pride Day. We don't keep to ourselves, which is what community is not. We need to really get out there and promote each other. So Pagan Pride Day, Pagan Unity Festival, Cauldronfest, gosh, even traditions are even introduced at Cauldronfest. So a tradition share is always welcome to happen, and that's what's discussed at midnight at the fire,
Wow.
Yeah, being able to be in one cohesive group and respect each other's differences and honor each other's differences while still also recognizing how many things we have in common. The sense of community is so vitally important. And of course, to segue it back in, of course, our kids are part of it. They learn what we teach them. They learn what they see. They're little sponges. And when we create safe places for them to exist and grow and be themselves and wear their wings and do whatever they want to do, obviously within parental guidance, then we have created community for them to grow and meet other people that are safe, right? Absolutely. So do you see Cauldronfest as that?
If it's not that, it's going to get there. So it's really, gosh, we're still a small group, but small as in 150 people small. So we're not, the other events that have 1,000 people and then, or 500 people or anything like that. I would love for us to get there, but it's something that it's in its 5th year. So everything kind of is really, really slow growing, which is good. I'd rather slow grow than fast.
I was going to say, small is not bad. Small can sometimes be so much more powerful to build community. Small is sometimes really good. I, for one, I'm like super excited to be there. You have no idea.
All right. We're also going to go ahead and now, Janet, if you can go ahead and talk about your organization and how you got involved with the community.
So I run a group called Spiral Moon Family Circle in Metro Detroit. How I got involved in the community is sort of a weird story, but like when we moved up here 25 years ago, we didn't know anybody, except that I had met a guy online on an email list who is a fairly prominent member of our local community, and he invited us out to a public solstice ritual, and so we went. Didn't know anybody, had never met this guy in person. Like, the internet was new, right? But that was sort of our household's introduction to the community, and over time we've been here 25 years now, which is a little crazy to me.
Wow.
And so we're here.
That's awesome.
I've been a vendor. I've run business stuff. I've run like all kinds of things. But Spiral Moon came about, I think about 3 years ago, technically. We have kids. My kids are now 16 and 13. My kids are disabled, and I had kind of gotten tired of not having places to take them. Like, it's hard to take them to many festivals and events because they're a lot, right? And I needed them to be safe. And we had a few things here in the community that were like that. We had an event that one of the organizers actually stopped me. My kids were sitting with me at my vending table, and she was like, "Why are your kids here and not over with the other kids?" And I said, "They can't be there by themselves. They need help."
Mhm.
and I can't be here and there. And she said, can I send somebody over to your table at the end of the weekend to talk about how we make that happen?
Wow.
And it was right before COVID. So, of course, then everything fell apart.
Oh, brutal.
But I basically came to the conclusion that, you know, like seems to happen a lot. If I didn't do something that was going to be friendly for my kids, then it wasn't going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I had the same challenges with mine. I totally relate to what you're saying, Janet, 100%. Like, my kids went with me, and I would have to evaluate it very quickly and kind of go, okay, yeah, no, this isn't really set up for my kids, but my kids can stay with me. They'll still be okay.
Right.
But
like we can walk through here.
Yeah.
We can go see the vendors. We can do this. We can maybe do this craft, but like we can't just go, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure, like me, when I then plan an event, I now look at it through that different lens, and I make sure that there's that other component so that people are comfortable. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you managed to finagle that at your outings?
So right now, most of our outings and stuff are small. We do a lot of things, you know, because we came out of COVID. We do a lot of things sort of virtually and in person if we do in person, which I think helps a lot of people in our community participate. You know, gas is expensive and not every place is accessible. What we would eventually like to do is have a building, but we're not there yet.
Yep.
So we try to like look at things like sensory issues, like mobility issues. Like, are we going to pick a park that has some pavement for people to be on, or are they going to have to like hike through trees and stuff to get there? Right.
Yeah.
We look at, we have several folks in our broader community who are visually impaired. So we try to stay on top of like, have we made sure that it's safe for them? Is it, you know, so we kind of look across all that spectrum of disabilities to try and make sure that we're accounting for things, and to be accountable for having made a plan or offered a plan one way or another. Right.
That's awesome.
But we also do things like a lot of what we do is community building. I tell people we're like a church without the church and without the church services, largely because I don't actually like running public rituals. So we do all the rest of the stuff, right? We do we do coffee nights. We run a business networking group. We now have a TV station on Roku. We have a radio station, a library, like all of those kinds of things. We have an education program for our members, and for the kids. We have both religious education and a plan for a K through 12, like school, and kind of a little bit of everything.
That's amazing. Wow. That's amazing. Very cool. And of course, I mean, I think the one of the things I really want to highlight is you started small, you got bigger, and it's so funny to me you still say you're small because that just sounds like so exhaustively large. And but there's that thing where it's like, well, we can constantly be building, right? We can constantly continue to add. We can constantly look at our community and find out what we need, right?
Well, and that's sort of the thing. We really focus on infrastructure.
Yep.
And anything else. We really are small. The number of people who actually actively plan things and get things done is probably less than 10.
Tiny little core for the big. Yep.
Small but mighty.
Over time, like this is the thing, right? It takes time for things to grow.
Yep, it does. Yep.
And it takes time for people to see that you not just that you exist, but that you still exist next year.
Yeah,
and that's huge in our community, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And if you've made it 2 years, are you going to make it 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? At 5 years, people start to believe you actually exist, right?
Yeah, but at 7, they think, oh, well, you're probably done now. So we're good. I know.
I'm going to go ahead and pivot the table to Reverend Mary Hawk, and she's going to talk to us about her organizations.
Thank you, Chrissy. Well, I'm going to talk to you a lot about Nashville Pagan Pride Day. And I have to say that Tony and Janet, you just really inspired me to take a good look at our children's activities this year. And I might be getting in touch with you to pick your brains a little bit about planning inclusive children's activities, because that's one thing. We do our very best to make Pagan Pride Day very family friendly and have children's activities. So Nashville Pagan Pride Day is October 4th this year at Two Rivers Park in Nashville, behind the wave pool on the other side of Briley Parkway, from Opry Mills Mall. So if you're in the Nashville area, please come. It's a free family event. We ask for a donation of money or non-perishable food for Second Harvest Food Bank. I've been involved in community building. Goodness, the first Pagan Pride Day I ever attended was back in the early 2000s when I still lived in New England.
Wow.
And I've been involved in planning Pagan Pride Day when I moved back to the Nashville area by 2004. I became president in 2011, and we just worked very hard on building this up as a way to showcase our pagan community, as a way to bring everyone together. We're a one-day event, but a lot of people can't go camp in the woods.
Right.
Some people can't, get away for a few days. I'm looking forward to Cauldronfest. I'm looking forward to Puff, but I do have the ability to take a few days off from work. Not everybody can, so
I just want to add, I went to Nashville Pagan Pride last year, and it was fantastic. And you guys had amazing events for children. And the way that you guys compiled so much things to do and so much energy and ritual and entertainment all in one day, it was just truly amazing. And so I just want to say thank you again for just doing that as a service to Nashville. That was amazing what you guys were doing last year.
Thank you. And we're planning another day with rituals, entertainment, vendors, workshops, food trucks. We have Community Row, which is where anyone with, we like to get our local community groups to come out, and we don't charge for a community booth as long as you're not selling anything. We designate a certain number of booth spaces where different traditions can just come out and talk about their traditions, so people can understand what groups are available to them in our community.
That's, I think, what I love so much about the Pagan Pride organization as a whole. Obviously, I've never been to the Nashville one. I'm planning on it this year, though. But I have obviously been to the ones in Vancouver Island. I helped organize the one in Vancouver Island with Mary Malinsky. And I have to say, like, the organization itself, it really does promote inclusivity. And I think that's why I love the fact that you see Pagan Prides all over, and they're all so unique and so different in their own ways, but still promoting, again, that sense of community, right? So you've talked so much about the initiatives and the programs and stuff that you're doing. Do you have anything else to add about your inclusivity and about the fact that you just make such a beautiful day for everybody?
Well, we are hoping to participate in the Nashville Pride Parade again this year. We have put in our application. We have not heard back, but we typically won't until April. We have the past 2 years. We have had an entry in the Nashville Pride Parade, so we are hoping to be there again this year.
That would be amazing. Very
because
cool.
feel like it's very important that we show our support for the LGBTQ community,
Especially now.
and especially now. And we have gotten amazing support rolling through with, drummers and people saying, our chant was Nashville Pagans love you, and people yelling, too. It was amazing.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. I think we're going to flip to Hayley as she does Spirit Oak Lodge. Hello, Hayley. Your hair is amazing.
Excuse me, I have to clear my voice. I just wanted to let you all know this is how far behind I am in technology and the times. This is my actual first podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Good for me. I've done Zoom meetings before, but this is my first time ever doing this. So just kind of bear with me.
We got you, girl.
Okay. So, all right, I guess I will start from the beginning. Spirit Oak Lodge was established in 2019. We bought 19 acres and we built our dream house and a studio during COVID. It just all the timing for everything for us was perfect, I think, being able to do that during COVID and build what we have now. So in the very beginnings, well, I have always been a very spiritual person. I'm a deadhead. I used to follow the dead when Jerry was alive. My husband is also a deadhead. So, I've always been into trippy, dippy, hippie kind of stuff, tarot reading and that kind of thing. And when I was in college, I read Starhawk's book, The Spiral Dance, and I learned about the goddess movement. All those things just kind of stay, they were all up here. I just didn't really know what to do with it. I was a young pagan. I joined SCA for a little while, but then I couldn't afford the dues when I was young. So, it's just kind of like, okay, I got kids, I was a Catholic mother for about 10 years. My husband is Catholic. And I don't know. I think they all just kind of came together. I guess when I hit my 40s, I decided, I have to be who I am. I have to, express myself spiritually and do the things that I want to do and explore. I don't know. I consider myself somewhat of a mystic. I've always been into the mystical things of everything. So, anyways, I used to be a mental health counselor. I was a mental health counselor for 16 years. I was a licensed professional counselor. Before that, I was an elementary school teacher. And while I was doing mental health counseling, which I was also, my specialty was child therapy and play therapy. So I started, I guess I went through this period where I was very depressed and I knew that I had to do something different. So I got involved with a shaman group and I went to Mexico and I became an ordained shaman. I started attending different women's circles just to see how people run things and that kind of thing to learn. Well, I ended up leaving my job and then we got the inheritance. So we were able to build Spirit Oak, which is a gift from my father-in-law. We wouldn't have any of this if it wasn't for him. So anyways, I was put in a situation where I could leave my job and I could really do something with this. So I started Murfreesboro Red Tent. Now, are you guys familiar with Red Tent?
Oh, yes.
Familiar with the movement? It's really, it's a movement.
Yes.
There's no, there's no leadership. There's no, You know, there's nobody's trademark that I'm using. You know, there was a book that was written, which I don't have. Any of you guys read The Red Tent?
Yes.
Okay, good. I figured so. Well, so the book was what started the movement, and I got on that stream.
So I was part of a different Red Tent through a different organization that eventually shuttered for a little bit, just because it had run its course, I guess, and stuff. But it just facilitated this phenomenal spiritual connection. It was like not just a connection with the participants, and again that deep rooted community, but also a community bonding, because it was very community oriented. Like no one was really ever excluded.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, definitely. We I put in a lot of my child therapy training and play therapy training. I weave that into what we do with Red Tents. So I make sure that it's very safe for everyone. You know, the art that we do, I try to choose things that everybody can be successful at doing. Our rituals, we follow the wheel. So, some holidays we celebrate, sometimes we don't. I just try to go with the rhythm of the group and what my community wants. Now, one of the things that I think makes our Red Tent very unique is that we also include families. A lot of Red Tents don't include families, where I leave it up to the women. Do we want to do a family event? Okay, well then the next one we do a family event, or just spouses, or, I try to really meet the needs of the group.
And I love that fact, because I know Chrissy has talked a lot about that, the fact that sometimes the spouses are involved, sometimes the kids are involved.
Yes.
And that the one that I was in was purely Dianic. So it was almost not inclusive in a way. It was actually exclusionary to my spouse, who could have really used community, and definitely my kids were not allowed. And that was hard. I think that's one of the reasons that tent had trouble and eventually just kind of came to a conclusion, is because of that exclusionary factor of it. So do you find the inclusion is hard, or do you find that it's easy, or do you have to put things in place to make sure the kids and spouses are there?
Well, there have been a couple of times when I have planned family events, and then it was just, oh, this is just women. Sometimes it just doesn't come together. But then when it does, it's pretty cool. And because I have experience working with children as a child therapist and as a play therapist, I know what to do with kids. I know how to respond with families. I know how to organize it. It's
I love, Hayley, that you brought up is sometimes it doesn't work. That is something that I think we all could nod our head at quite exclusively. Like, sometimes it doesn't work, and we kind of go, okay, shift.
Yes. I do a lot of shifting. Yes, I do. When I plan an event, I might plan it to be one way, and then I find out that it's something different, and that's okay. I just kind of go with it. I really do. I use my teaching skills. I run a nonprofit. Obviously, this is not a big money grab or anything like that. It's not, quote, a career or anything, but I do use my education and, my training and all that has definitely, I think it colors what I do. Sure. But I think it colors it in a good way, kind of like fuchsia. Yeah.
Oh, Hayley, I love that.
But
that's amazing.
We don't do a bunch of partying out here, the only time that we drink is at Samhain, which that one is not for kids. When we do Samhain, that's adults only. So I've tried to keep riffraff out of it, keep it, I want my group to have integrity. And I think we do have a lot of integrity because, I hold the container, I am the person that makes sure that everyone is safe. And I know the importance of that.
I love that imagery. Like, we all really are so much in a vessel where we contain, but we also protect. Like vessels also protect a space.
Yes, and like the womb, the red tent is the womb. When you enter the red tent, you're entering the womb. Another thing that kind of makes us cool out here is that we eat really good at this red tent. My husband is an executive chef.
I've heard. Oh my gosh, ladies, the pictures that I have seen of the food.
It's incredible.
A little verklempt by the whole thing. It was something.
Yeah, my husband, he just, it's absolutely incredible. The meals that, he will put together, and he'll always theme it with what, like, for example, we got Equinox Ostra coming up. He's going to prepare an Ostra meal.
Nice.
And I mean, he puts his creativity in my red tent. And but that's cool. I mean, everyone really appreciates that, and that's kind of what makes us unique. Oh, I wanted to talk about reaching out to others and how have the size of the group and all that. I was on Facebook and I got hacked. And several of my red tent sisters got swindled out of money, and so I'm off Facebook. I hadn't been on there in 6 months, and it not being on Facebook has, it's sort of hurt my red tent a little bit, but I have a core group of 12 that are local. And I can always depend on them coming. Of course, I have other people from other areas that come, even out of state sometimes. And that's cool. But I think it's important that you have your core group.
Right.
And in that core group, you need at least 3 or 4 people that help you with everything you do.
Well, I think that's something that a lot of us have definitely highlighted as fact. I know Janet really highlighted it very strongly, is that there's always this tiny little core of the people that do, right? And then there's like a smaller little softer core of people that do or do not. And then it serves this massive group of people who really don't know how to be involved or can't be involved, or for whatever reason, it's just not something that is within their capacity. And people come from lots of different walks with lots of different shoes. So we don't really ever know. But without that absolute hard diamond core, none of these things happen. So again, thank you guys for being the diamond core. Without ladies like you, things just wouldn't happen.
Oh, another thing I want to add to that core group. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I'm going to segue that over to Barb, because Barb, you are part of ConVocation, and you guys start as a small group, and now you guys became something, oh my goodness, so huge. I've never experienced a huge functioning of what I experienced back in late February. It was just amazing. So could you tell us about how your involvement in getting into ConVocation and how you guys were able to build a little bit on that organization and making sure everybody was included in that?
And just to tag on to that one, Barb, were you ever small?
Yes, they were very much small. So I can tell you some history on that too. I actually, so I'll start like with me. I actually have always done some form of volunteer work with a 501. So I've been helping in my community at different avenues ever since I was 14 years old. My mom actually made us do volunteer work at our local veterans hospital. So, I mean, I've just always, I was raised with giving back to your community and volunteering as much as you can. So I came into ConVocation about 20 years ago into the Met community there. And it was smaller then, but it actually really started with a very small group of friends. So, like you said, there was a small group of friends who really got together and decided that they wanted to hold a magical teaching conference. And so they created the MEC, which is the Magical Education Council, and they started meeting different teachers, and actually they started teaching themselves. Some of the members are still with us and still participate. I spoke to one at the beginning of the year because this year was our 30th anniversary, who told me that he was originally the energy teacher. And so he taught all the energy work, and he still comes and attends every year. So yeah, so like I said, it's really, there's kids that have grown up in the community, who are now adults and have children of their own and are still attending. There's a lot of really cool, I guess, things about the community, but it did start off really small. Like I think they said maybe 20 to 30 the first year, and
In total attendance, 20 or 30 the first year?
Yeah.
20 to 30 people the first year.
The first year I went was our second year here, and there was probably only 100 people there.
Wow.
And so, Janet, what year did you start? Can I ask you? What year did you start?
We moved here in 2000, and I heard about it right before ConVocation in 2001, and we did not go that year, but we went in 2002.
So my first year was 2005. So from 2001 to 2005, they had jumped up from 100 to about 500.
Holy, that's like exponential growth. So what do you credit that to?
At the time, there was a, I think that's about when the Wiggins came on, when Michael Wiggins came on. So Michael Wiggins was a really energetic person who really knew how to advertise and bring people in, and he really had a good flair, for that. Unfortunately, Michael passed away a few years back, and so every so often the board will go through a shift. So we're a board where you get voted in. So the board runs the events that the Magical Education Council puts on, and we put on 3 events a year. ConVocation is just our biggest and our major focus. But yeah, a lot of it is how you approach the community is what I've noticed. Taking that time out to have conversations with people, to connect. And that's one of the big things that I do, is trying to connect with the community. And I also promote for small businesses and do the advertising and that sort of thing. But reaching out for the community is the most important thing. The only reason why I signed up to be on the board was because I felt my community needed me. And so we all kind of, wear different hats. But after COVID, COVID really, really had a hard effect on us. And a lot of pagan conventions kind of ceased after COVID. Yep. And it took us a lot to get back. But, it did almost, almost was the end. And I heard that and I was like, this can't end. This is something that I love, that I look forward to. I've been going for 20 years. It just was such a big deal for me. So I jumped in. I had a lot of experience with promotions and advertising sales. And so I had a lot of experience with that, and I just came in with that knowledge. And, we had, we went from right after COVID. So our 2023, I think we had the lowest amount of attendees we had in quite some time at 600. And then after 2023, I came on, and we had a little over, I think, somewhere between 750 and 800 that year. This year we came so close to breaking 1,000. I think we were like 10 to 20 from breaking 1,000.
It felt like it. There were so many people there. But one thing I just wanted to ask you, so one thing you touched upon was that you have, because you've been going for 20, 30 years, right? You have kids you have had kids that have grown up in ConVocation, and those kids have grown up and they have kids. So do you find that generationality has helped to build your community to almost 1,000 people?
I do. Yes and no. The people who had children that grew up within the community, now their children are there. Unfortunately, them numbers are small. But we reaching out and rebuilding is one of the bigger things that attribute to it. Finding new people. We have people that we're in partnership with, like Janet, who always advertises and spreads the word when she's out in public, which I love you for. But like I said, we have a lot of people who back us. Kenya Koviak advertises for us all the time. And then we have like authors who who advertise for us, like Jason Mackey and Matt, Aaron and Devin Hunter. They advertise for us and tell people, this is really a great event. And that really helps us, that word of mouth, that we treat people well and we want it to be a good event for everybody. But I think even more so, this community is family.
Yeah.
And I don't feel any different. Like, and I know Janet knows this, I hope you do, but I love her like a sister, even though we don't talk every day, even though we don't, you know what I mean? It's like if somebody, it's like we're just family, we're just there.
If there's a vernacular definition then for community, you really do have to say then, it's like, I haven't talked to you in forever, but you know what? It feels like no time has passed. And again, that reaching out and building that beautiful web, right, where we all sit somewhere on that web and we're all connected. And if we ping, right, there's that ping that happens sometimes. When we do that ping, the person on the other end will pick up the phone and or answer your email or what have you. And I think it's that web that gives us the strength to be able to maybe reach out. What do you think about that? Do you think that's true?
I definitely think so. And I think that right now, one of my big goals is to link with other community leaders to try to, make sure that we're all linked together and that we know each other and we have faces that match, because it's a big thing. I mean, I want to go to Cauldronfest now. And I want to go see Nashville Pride Day. I really want to go and see these things and participate in Run 10. These are the reasons I joke I have a bucket list. I have a pagan bucket list. And I am going to go attend all these events because it means a lot to know where everybody's at. And I like it.
I have to say, like, Barb, like, your book for how to find stuff at your convention is amazing. And there's an app. I don't know, like, it's an app. There's an app, and it tells you where you're supposed to be, and it kind of gives you a ping that your stuff is coming. I mean, it was not only fun to attend, but it was easy to attend, and welcoming, and just an extraordinary expression of what community really can be when fed, right? And I think that's one thing that we've all kind of touched on is the fact that we have to feed these communities. They cannot exist on their own. They can't exist in isolation. They need to be fed. Does anyone want to talk on that?
I definitely know that for like some of the things that, because we're a board of minds, so your minds have to line up in order to accomplish a goal. And sometimes there's disagreements. I mean, we're just like a family. We're not perfect. But like you said, we have to really work together to accomplish a goal. And one of the things for me that's always been important is our hospitality suite. That's a huge one for me.
Yep.
When you're there, and especially if you have little kids with you, when you're there, to eat at the hotel, it just that price add up, that's a nice spot where you can get lunch. And we have enough there where you can make a sandwich, you can have some hot. If feeding people, like literally food.
Yes, right, Hayley? Feeding people,
Yes,
Hayley,
yes.
100%.
And I would
And,
say
like,
one of the things that ConVocation did last year that sort of surprised everybody was because money was so short after COVID, after them not having an event for a couple of years, they said, hey, does anybody want to donate to help us cover the costs of the hospitality suite? Right? Because some cons you go to in the hospitality suite is like water and coffee and chips and not much else. But the ConVocation hospitality suite is spectacular, right?
Yeah.
And people donated and donated and donated and donated.
Wow.
And we've had that same experience. We've done Pagan Pride 2 years in a row now. And both years we've provided food. And we've asked people to donate to cover the costs of food. Right? Because my thing is that's part of being a community, is to sit down and eat together as a community and to make sure that everybody is taken care of, right?
Yep.
And we have never once had an issue covering the cost of food.
That is amazing.
We'll always come up with money. Sometimes it's people who come up with $20 or $30 or $40.
But it adds.
Yeah.
It all adds up. I know myself, when I went to the hospitality suite with my son, we were desperate for coffee. I was jet lagged. It was a very long trip. I was desperate for coffee. And those beautiful ladies said, the coffee is ready. The creamer is there. And I went, yes,
That's wonderful.
And it was like nectar. It was because nothing was open really. And I just really, 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 really needed some caffeine. And it was just like, and then I met some beautiful people there, and I learned about hummus, and then one of the little kids was there. I can't remember her name. I think it was Moira. And she like schooled my son on I think it was a Pokemon thing, and then they had this phenomenal interaction together, and it was such a smart, brilliant little girl, and just like so cute and like so dedicated to her hummus. And it was like, oh my God, I loved it. It was just like, it was like a little family moment where it's like, oh, it's so amazing.
One of the things we do at Cauldronfest is we promote our teenagers to help out in the kitchen. So they're actually having that community building as well, because they either cook, because we've had them making pancakes and sausages, or
else I love that.
Yes, or they serve. So not only are they're learning how to support the community, and to me, you always start in the kitchen.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
And like I told you before, the younger they learn to serve their community, they turn out to be people like me.
Exactly.
We promote that. We want them out there. They're under adult supervision, so it's like there's no problem. But they're being taught while they're being fun.
They're being mentored. And I mean, really, that's what it's all about, is finding those key people who are able to mentor our youth and mentor them up and give them the opportunities to sometimes make mistakes, and that be okay, right? We can fix that because we're adults, and then go like, yeah, you still tried, squish, squish, and move on from there. Like, honestly, creating that community, I think, really does start with mentoring and understanding really what that means, right? And not using them as little Cinderella slave people, but really taking it seriously as a mentorship, going, you own that hummus. And my God, did that girl own that hummus? She was amazing.
My grandkids just assume they are the Pagan Pride Day vendor volunteers. Elsa can tell you.
I have been escorted plenty of times.
They also assume they will be taking over Pagan Pride Day one year. I had a bad coughing fit one time when they were over, and my eldest looked at me and said, "Are you okay? I'm not ready to run Pagan Pride Day yet, girl."
That's awesome.
He's 15. He's not ready to take over yet.
Yeah.
But because those little kernels have been planted, I mean, that will eventually grow into a beautiful flower and give fruit, right? Like, I mean, It is extraordinary. When I was at ConVocation and we were doing the kids dance there, just watching them orient and negotiate, and then all of a sudden just like burst out, and it's like, all right, you're going. And honestly, like, I've never really liked that whole song that they love so much, but I've never liked it more than I did there. And I don't know, it's like a horse and they're whatever. That one,
The pink pony.
the pony one. It's like, I despise this song, but then they were singing at the top of their lungs, and they
That
were
was the hottest song of the year for them kids.
right. Song of the year. And I don't know if they're just relating to the beat, or they're relating to the words, or they really know about the inclusivity of that song. But seeing them sing with all their might and all of their passion, oh my gosh, you've never seen anything more beautiful and more engaging. And the fact that the adults, as they filtered in, because of course the adult dance was after, as they filtered in, but then let them have their space and literally let them have their community. And it was really a neat dynamic, because all the adults, without ever really speaking, just kind of surrounded this beautiful, safe area for them to just be themselves and just dance, and in some cases cry, and in some cases sing at the top of their lungs. This is what we need to provide for our children.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
I like
It's a
the
beautiful
fact when
story.
you talk about community and children that it doesn't matter where you're at, what you're doing, and what your age is. If you need mama, all you got to do is turn around and find the first female that you can come to, right?
There is mama.
And dada, you or uncle, or however you need that. If you need that energy or that hug, I'm 54 years old, and I will grab somebody and go, hug me right now, because it's what I have the freedom to do that without fear, and that's one of the things that community does for pagans and inclusiveness, is the simple fact that we don't really have fear until the others get involved. But that's the community, is removing the fear and just.
Well, I mean, it's a really old adage, but I mean, it's a good one. When it says it takes a community to raise a child, it really does take a community to raise a child. Raising a child in isolation is no fun. We learned that in COVID. I have 2 COVID kids, and I think they are very much affected by what happened. Canada was in a full lockdown, and you couldn't take them anywhere. You couldn't go anywhere. They really were homebound for a really, really, really long period of time. And it was odd the way all of a sudden they started tendering out online, and we were able to, because of the homeschooling network, we were able to really shift very easily to, okay, let's have that play date online. Let's do pottery together online. It can work. We did projects online. We managed to try and connect our kids and stuff through really extraordinary circumstances. So when the COVID restrictions ended, they were nervous to be back with public people again, but and a lot of anxiety. But because we had already established a community and it was a safe community, they were able to go out, express the fact that they were nervous, but then be embraced in that community and held, right, to still grow. And that's really what's so important.
I'm actually going to ask Janet. So you said that you guys do a lot of events online. And so tell me about how you're bringing the kids together and having the organizations online for them to build the community. Because I do know it's like you point out, it is hard to get involved during the week with things going on. So how do you guys juggle that?
So it's a little bit complicated right now. To be honest, one of my kids actually is super anxious about video calls, to the point that I do all my video calls down here in my office, because if she sees them, she flips out. But like our youth group has experimented with doing like one Saturday a month where we have a couple of hours where we just open up the Zoom and let everybody in so that they can talk to each other and whatever, because then it doesn't matter if they're all right here. Right. One of the things we run into here in Michigan is that although the metro area is not really that big in the grand scheme of things, it takes time to get across the metro area, substantial time in some cases. And so driving an hour to hang out for an hour is not always super, super motivating for parents. But, you know, things like that. I know kids like in some of our homeschooling networks here who do Roblox online together, or who do Minecraft online together, or those sorts of things. Not really the thing my kids do. It's just like they just don't get it. So we don't do that. But those sorts of things are certainly available, right? Those games in particular, for most kids, are things they're already interested in, and places they are already meeting people. And so facilitating spaces like that is good for them and good for us, right? Facilitating ways that they can get together and discuss or do projects together or whatever.
Agreed. I mean, I think that's, in talking to you at Cauldronfest, I think it really did highlight too how important it was to make sure we got our Minecraft server running, right? Because you're right, so many kids do connect through that, and create and grow and stuff. So I'm glad to know that I think the server is actually running. But no, it's so important and vitally important for the adults to be able to create those spaces, right? For the kids to inhabit. And it may not always be the most fun job, but it's so vital to create those spaces, right? Absolutely, Jenna. I love that so much. So as
now with our space, for our children's programming, and you guys were a big part of that. They actually sponsored our children's programming room this year. And so, but like I said, you know, with that, we did the children's fairy, and that was a really big bonus. And I know one of you were talking about building your children's programming, like having like the children's fairy or something similar is a really big bonus also, because that person can actually stand at that classroom door and walk the kids to like the bathroom. And we have ours like kind of stationed right near our general operations room or ops room. So that way, if anything else happens to them children, they can jump in. And Star said, oh, she played on the Minecraft server earlier, but I think it was Star's sister that was our children's fairy this year in that room. And so having that was a big help for us, and it really built.
You met my son, right? Do you remember my son? Okay. We threatened him that if he didn't want to do the talk and stuff and he just wanted to hang out and whatever, we threatened him with staying in the children's room and dressing him up actually as a fairy, wings and all. And
then you found out there was a children's fairy.
Because anyways, Eric is like, I'm 6'3", Mom, and fully bearded. I'm like, you would make an amazing fairy. And he was like,
really would.
I know, right?
We could put glitter in his beard. I mean,
so next year, Barb, I'm just saying, next year. No, he's not here. But next year we may actually achieve 6'3" bearded fairy boy. You never know. But oh my gosh, what a resource! And honestly, those kids.
Video of this.
But what did you think about teaching the classes?
He loved it. He actually really loved being part of it. I mean, I have to say, Barb, you made it easy. I mean, I wasn't even really nervous, which is really odd for me. But I was so thrilled to be there. And I said, your organization made it easy for us to be there, easy for us to be somewhere, and so welcome. And I think that that's something too. Like I felt so welcomed by Janet, so welcomed by Elsa, so welcomed by Mary. Like, Hayley, I love you already. I haven't been at your red tent, but I will get there. And because
You're welcome to come.
so welcomed. And I think that is the power. That is literally the core of all of our existence, all of us. That power of connection, that power of welcome, that power of come on, bring it on in, bring what you have, and we'll work with that. Like whatever you have to bring, we'll work with that. We'll find somewhere to use that, and it'll be good. And it was, because we believed it to be so. Manifestation is such a cool thing, right?
Yes.
And so
Yes,
it is. It's so cool. So do we have any thoughts? Like we're going to roundtable this one through the importance of community engagement. We've talked all about it, but let's see if we can put a point to it. What is the importance of community engagement? Barb, we'll start with you.
I think that the importance of community engagement is to make everybody feel like they belong. That is a huge thing for me that I know, and I think the rest of my board members agree. We want everyone who comes through them doors to feel like they belong, that they are part of our community, that they're loved and they're appreciated. So it doesn't matter how big or how small of their commitment to the community. If they just helped somebody in the hallway, it should matter.
It does. Yeah, I agreed. Okay, Mary, your turn. What do you think? Importance of community engagement.
From the point of view of Pagan Pride Day, what we want to do is show people we have community here. Because a lot of people who come to Nashville Pagan Pride Day will tell us, this is my first pagan event. I didn't know there were so many pagans here.
You're the gateway.
Yes.
We're the gateway. And they meet other pagans, they pick up literature, they find out about other events.
Mary, they find out they're not alone. Oh my God.
That was
Exactly. They're not alone. They put faces.
Yeah.
They find out about groups that host other events. They meet vendors and they buy cool stuff, but they spend the day in community and they just find out how wonderful it is. And a lot of times, this is their first step on the journey.
Beautiful. All right, Elsa.
So what was the question again? I just want to make sure I'm answering it right.
The importance of community engagement.
The importance of community engagement is to show up. I think, there's the double-edged sword of that, because a lot of us are like, we work really, really hard. So Cauldronfest isn't the only thing that I do. I do a bunch of other things. And so it's like, show up. So I show up, and then we organize things for people to show up. And then sometimes they don't show up. Some of the coffee things that we do, they don't show up. So say you want to be there, and then be there. And then when you are there, be in the now. Know how to be in the now, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Oh, I love that. That is important. Okay, Hayley, what do you think? Importance of community engagement.
Excuse me, to create a sense of belonging and safety. That's the most important thing, I think, in building a community where, everyone has a voice, everyone matters, diversity is appreciated and loved and welcomed. Family members are also welcomed. So that everyone is just a big part of the whole, and also family, not just the individual, but the family, because that's where it really, we go to these events, right? We gather, but then we have to go back to our homes too.
Yeah.
So I think just being able to take it within our homes as well. So that's why you have to have kids involved.
Love it. And Janet, final thoughts on the importance of community engagement.
I would make the argument that if you don't have community engagement, you don't actually have a community.
Ooh, nice.
You have a group of people.
Yes.
Yep.
You have a
Yep.
group of random people, and that's not a community.
Yes.
This is
Absolutely.
the answer you get from engineers, right?
It's like, that's
Love
it.
it.
That's
Love
what it is. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. It's true though. Like it is just a group of random people kind of working more or less in tandem. But then once they start working in tandem, booyah, community, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, no, actually that's brilliant. Okay, I love your brain. Your brain is amazing. Okay, Janet, you're going to be first up on this one. One actionable step listeners can take to get involved with their organization.
With my organization or with organizations in general?
With your organization.
So, like one actual concrete step, they could go join our website and check out our forums and all the other stuff we have going on.
Yeah, get involved. Just investigate, right?
Mhm.
Surf, look, join. Okay, Elsa, you're next.
Oh,
So one actionable step listeners can take to get involved with your organization.
I feel like a broken record here. Show up.
Absolutely, yes. 100%.
Volunteer with the site coordinator or the kitchen or some of those sites, because the more we get to know you, we might approach you and say, hey, we have a position open that needs help, or hey, we need some volunteers for, we're not going to always put you on toilet duty. So but it was my first experience as a volunteer when I was young, but it's one of those get to know us so that we can get to know you.
Yeah.
The more we do that, you do that through volunteering and spending time with us, showing up, spending time, getting to know each other. Because if you don't spend time at an event and then try to say, hey, I want to run the site coordination of your event.
That don't fly.
I've actually seen that before. It's like, no, but here you can do fire duty. We're good with that. Like that's where we're right now. Yeah. And then they're like, don't get butthurt when you don't get the job you want. Like, really? I mean, I was really abrupt, but like honestly, like there's no small job. There's no small job. None. They're all vitally important.
Vitally important.
Yeah.
I enjoyed as a young one. Now, young, I was 25 but I did toilet paper duty. I had to take the toilet paper to all of the porta potties.
And you try and tell me that's not important? I'm going to say, have you ever had to do it? Because that's a thing. That is not a good thing. So yes. Hayley, what do you think?
You want to come to a red tent, go to www.spiritoaklodge.org and sign up for the email list, because that's where we advertise. And find us on Instagram, Spirit Oak Lodge. Yeah, that's
good food.
What's that?
Come enjoy some good food, some good community, and some good discussion.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. Just join. It's I have to say, with all of you guys, so like you guys have been so kind to me and opened up your space. And again, I just want to thank you for that, and especially Hayley, with your red tents. It was nervous going over the first time, but then after I was like, oh my goodness, I had to call Tori and it's like, oh my gosh, you just need to be here. And so yes, again, thank you for that.
So jealous.
Well, thank you. That means the world to me to hear that. I mean, I really do think we have a good thing here.
Oh yeah.
And I'm proud is, what we've built here.
And you should
thank
be.
you.
It's awesome. Okay, Reverend Mary, here we go.
Okay, go to our website. We are also on Facebook. Just look for Nashville Pagan Pride Day. We have a page. We have a group. We need volunteers. We'll be scheduling our fundraiser snacks and sears soon. Come out and support us there. Volunteer to be one of our readers if that is one of your gifts. Elsa just volunteered. Thank you. We'll need
I've done it for the past few years, so she knew.
The day of the event. So yes, And if you're in the Nashville area, or if you're not, please come out and enjoy the day.
Especially if you guys just want to have a fun day, just meeting new people and just going out and enjoying the Nashville weather, because you guys seem to pick it on a really pretty sunny day. Nashville Pagan Pride Day is amazing. So you run it so well. And again, thank you as a person in the community. I really, really do enjoy it. Thank you.
And to close out our final statements, Barb.
Well, yes, get involved. Come see us. Come meet some more family. And like you said, we have volunteers. You can sign up online. You can contact us at info@convocation.com or .org. I'm so sorry. And you can contact us or you can look at our website at convocation.org. Also on Facebook, we have we have our Convocation community page, and then we have our Convocation event page. So you can like both of those. But yeah, come out, volunteer. We also have staff positions. I think we have like 30 staff positions that we got to fill every year.
Wow.
So yeah, if you prefer to work, yeah, you can apply to be a staff member also. So volunteers, staff members, but any way you can, show up, come help.
I mean, it's funny you say we malign, at least I malign, I shouldn't say we, but I kind of malign Facebook a little bit. But I mean, honestly, it is a way to connect. It is a way to connect to your community. And I'm sure you're even looking for moderators and people to help out with that community too, even if you can't be resident there, right? You can still be part of the big whole. And I think that that's something from someone who lives in Canada, the fact that I feel so connected to you ladies is extraordinary. It is the power of the internet. It is the power of being able to communicate. And I can tell you, I do feel like part of the community, even though I live very, very, very far away. And I have a snowfall warning. Just saying.
Hey, spring finally in Michigan.
I don't know. We had some spring, but now I think we're back to false winter. We may get real spring somewhere down the road in April. I don't know.
We got severe thunderstorms for tomorrow.
Oh, you do not? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love thunderstorms. I want to be in Tennessee.
But she really hasn't really got to experience one during the seasons change. So I can't wait for you to come down and experience that. You won't be saying I love the rain.
So
The power flickers, the internet flashes on and off.
You're in Middle Tennessee. Your shed goes down to the neighbor's house because it's flooded.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm still loving it. The rain was warm. It was amazing. It was so cool. I just have so much respect and just so much love for the people I have met and the experiences I've had. Like, I'm so enriched every day. And so thankful, that all of you have welcomed me, even though I'm a Canadian, into your universe. So thank you.
When you get here, you'll make your own cup of tea and your own plate because you're already, you're not a guest anymore. That's how we do that.
Well, I almost make notes. So your tea is weird down there. I'm not sure what you do with your tea.
We put sugar in it.
It's different.
We don't put sugar in it. We put whole bowl.
We heat up the water in the microwave. That's
tea in the sugar down there.
We had this conversation. Like, Chrissy was telling me, well, I just microwave my and then the tea bag. I'm like, oh, where's the pot? I don't understand. You must warm the pot. And then she's like, I don't think I have a teapot. It's like this one that's over there somewhere. I'm like, oh, we actually have two teapots. Eric has his teapot. I have my teapot. Yeah, it's. I had a brown
That was a big thing in my house. My dad was from the South, my mom was from the North, so sweetened and unsweetened tea was a regular fight.
You know what? I have to tell you, coming back to Canada, I went to a restaurant and I was absolutely gobsmacked that there was no option to get just tea, right? It's all Lipton, super sweet, nasty stuff that's not real tea. And I was like, oh, I can't have tea here. I can't have iced tea. No, I was absolutely horrified by it. And so Jim, and my husband Jim, he says to me, Well, you can just order like tea and then a big glass of ice and then just pour the tea into the big glass of ice. It's not the same. I tried. It's not the same. I don't know what to say. It wasn't good.
No.
So
And adding sugar up here is not the same either. Like, I've tried.
Got to
not.
put the sugar
added
in
when
the
it's
tea
warm.
when it's
Like,
hot.
Sorry, Mary, what? What did you do?
You must put the sugar in the tea when it's hot to make sweet tea.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I will try that then. I didn't know. That's why that was just sitting at the bottom and disgusting.
It's like making simple syrup.
Yes.
It's like making simple syrup.
Well, we'll teach you when you come down.
Yeah.
Go through a sweet tea lesson.
I need a sweet tea lesson. That's what I need. It's a good thing.
Wait till we pull out the soup pot to make the tea in.
I love my teapot though. I can't give it up. I love my teapot. I love all of them. I've had many. My husband has broke them over the years.
Hey, Bed Bath & Beyond has a great teapot. So, and it's the white normal one.
Do you want to know something really sad, Elsa? We do not have Bed Bath & Beyond up here.
Well, it's only online now. It's only online now, so.
It is.
But you guys have Lush.
We do. Do you not have Lush?
We have Lush at Green Hills. Did they get rid of it?
So certain ones in Michigan, like certain malls, will have it. But yeah, Lush is hard to find.
Yeah, I think we still have the one in Green Hills for us Nashville folks. If you want to travel to Green Hills and battle the traffic and all that stuff. But on that note, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. And thank you so very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts and community and sharing how everybody can get involved. I will put in the comments and show notes of all your organizations so people can reach out to you guys if you have any questions and want to get involved. But again, thank you so very much for joining us on our ELH Chit Chat.
Thank you.
I look forward to every one of your spotlights. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yay.
Bye. Bye.